to the first Black Leaders Breakfast about climate change and food sovereignty, connecting the dots. I'm Robin Lewis. I'm the director for Climate Equity at Interfaith Power and Light, DMV, and I'm also the facilitator for Bring the Church, DMV. So I'd like to welcome you all here. Thank you. So we're so excited about today as we gather to discuss how climate justice intersects food justice. The purpose of this event is to bring together Black faith leaders to build power in our community around issues that impact Black and brown folks. We are faith leaders. We have an added responsibility to care for God's creation and to ensure that we educate our congregations as well as our community members on environmental issues that impact their health and wellness. As you all know, climate change has impacted everything, from extreme storms, floods, droughts, extreme heat, inadequate food supplies, and the list goes on and on. Unfortunately, it is our communities.
That's right.
We as faith leaders have a responsibility to stand up for our communities when it comes to environmental policies and financial resources that are now available to help mitigate as well as adapt to these climate catastrophes. So thank you all for coming. And I have a few little housekeeping things to go over. You already found the food. So, in the back, you will see composting bins, recycle, and trash. Please use the composting bins for all of your utensils, dishes, all of those things can be composted. This is a sustainable green event. The parking codes, I hope you all found them and you're all good with those. They're actually on the back of your light switch reminders, but if you've used them already, you already know. But please look at our wonderful light switch reminders, take one home, use it, take it out to your church. If you need more, let us know. So Reverend Heber brought us some very delicious, fresh produce, right? Different items. There's a table of stuff in the back, so please visit the table and take some stuff with you. And before I turn it over, I want to invite my colleague, Joshua Long, who is our congregational organizer at Interfaith Power and Light, to say a few words.
Church say, amen.
Amen.
The church say amen. All right, good morning. My name is Joshua Long. I work with Interfaith Power and Light, I'm the congregational organizer. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what you have in your center of the table. A little thing that says, "Climbing the pulpits."
Woo!
For all that has breath, there's a QR code. I want to talk about what that is. And so, what we're doing for the month of October is we're running a program to have congregations pick a day in October, the whole month, to lift up climate change, environmental justice, and then particularly connected to policy and legislation that is going to help our communities and help benefit people's lives. If you are in DC, we're lifting up the Healthy Homes Act, And that is for us to move the council to get off of gas, to use funds that are already there to electrify our homes, particularly those of low income, medium income, so that the cost burden to electrify is not on us, but it's utilizing funds that are already designated for this clean energy transition. And then if you're in Maryland, we're looking for ways to both strengthen the Empower program in Maryland so that it works better with low-income families. And then in certain counties, we're also doing an electrified movement. We're trying to get the new buildings that are built, the infrastructure is completely electrified, that we're not building up new buildings with gas, and that the codes are made for electrification. And this is because that we know the solutions for climate change is that we need to get off of fossil fuels, and we need to electrify everything, and then turn our grid over so that it's all clean energy. And while this is an economic, imperative, this is an environmental imperative, it's also a moral and justice and faith imperative. That we as people of faith, we believe that that the nature is sacred, that our common home created by God is something that should be cherished, including the people who live there, us who live there, that is the right moral thing to do to make these changes so that we can have a more sustainable future for all human beings and the planet. So if you have the QR code in the table, just scan it. It'll give you a link to more information. You can sign up, and we'll be in touch. We'll be sending out materials over the next week or so. And if you want to have a conversation with me, you have any questions, you can reach out to me. My name is Joshua Long. My email is joshua@IPL-DMV.org. It's simple. And enjoy the rest of the program. God bless.
Justice pillar of the social justice ministry at Alpha Street Baptist Church. I also serve on the advisory board of the Greenwood Church DMV affiliate chapter of Greenwood Church, and I've been given the honor and the privilege of introducing my speaker. Reverend Dr. Heber III has been a catalyst for personal and social change for more than 20 years. From 2008 to 2022, he served as senior pastor of Pleasant Hope Baptist Church in Baltimore, Maryland. Under his leadership, the church grew tremendously and garnered national attention for its innovative approaches to ministry. In 2015, he launched the Black Church Food Security Network, a national alliance of more than 200 congregations that work together to co-create Black food ecosystems anchored in the Black church in partnership with Black farmers and producers. Dr. Brown's dedication to service has been widely recognized. He is the recipient of numerous awards, including the Elevator Freedom Fighter Award and the Afro-American newspaper's 25 Under 40 Emerging Black History Leaders Award. In 2011, Urbanite magazine identified him as one of the change makers of Baltimore City. In 2013, he received a $10,000 fellowship award from the Beatitude Society, who identified him as one of 8 leading young progressive faith leaders in the country. In 2016, Risk.org named him among the innovative organizers and visionaries as one of the 50 people. Oh, is that my phone? 50 people you'll be talking about this year. In civil rights presented him, in 2018, Baltimore magazine named him a visionary of the city of Baltimore, and and Baltimore City Office of Civil Rights presented him with their Food Justice Award. In 2019, he received the coveted Emerging Leader Award from the Plandio Foundation, which brought with it a $250,000 investment in the work of the Black Church Food Network. In 2021, Reverend Dr. Brown was inducted into the Martin Luther King Jr. Board of Preachers at Morehouse College. In 2022, he was chosen to become an Ashoka Fellow, which places him among some of the most influential social entrepreneurs around the world. In 2023, he received the Humanitarian Award from both the Samuel DeWitt Proctor Conference and the Morgan State University Baltimore Alumni Chapter. That year, he also received the Community Service Award from the Epsilon Omega Chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Dr. Heber Brown has presented and lectured at many institutions of higher learning, including the Interdenominational Theological Center, Drew Theological School, Wake Forest School of Divinity, Methodist Theological School of Ohio, Virginia Union University, Garrett Evangelical Theological Seminary, St. Mary's Seminary, Memphis Theological Seminary, and the Black Theological Leadership Institute at Princeton Theological Seminary. He earned his bachelor's degree in psychology from Morgan State University, a Master of Divinity degree from the Virginia Union University, and a Doctor of Ministry degree from Wesley Theological Seminary in Washington, D.C. Dr. Brown serves on the board of many impactful organizations such as Bread for the World, and is currently writing his first book entitled Nothing More Sacred, Radical Stories of Black Church Faith, Food, and Freedom. The book is scheduled to be published in fall of 2024. I introduce to some, I present to others, our speaker, the Reverend Dr. Heber Brown. First, we're going to have a song from Joshua.
All right.
I'm glad we got another Wesley alum in the house.
Amen.
All right. We'll do. I'm in two roles this morning. So we're gonna do this song. And I say we, because y'all can help me sing the song right here. We're gonna worship a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit new and a little bit familiar for y'all. This song is a song that I wrote called Liberation. And it's about how I believe that God wants us all to be free. And that's free from injustice, free from oppressions of all kinds, both mentally, spiritually, and as a community. So don't help me out here. It goes like this. You're gonna repeat after me. Liberation, liberation, true salvation,
True salvation.
and liberation,
Liberation.
true salvation.
True salvation.
All right, here we go. You're gonna give me a nice little stomp clap. If you want to stand and to your feet, we want to sing a little bit. You want to stand up? We're gonna go. I know you might be eating, but we're gonna sing. Liberation, true salvation, true salvation, liberation, 2, 3, liberation, true salvation, and does he look
then after that is like the peppermint candies and the red cushion perfumes, so that we can continue to transform this space so that it feels like the sanctuary that we need to be for this time. I'm so grateful. And there's a part of me that is like, I'm not doing no keynote presentation. This is my family. We just sit in the living room talking. That's what we're doing. But I'm grateful for the chance to be here and to share. So many of you, we've been journeying together for some time. And I'm excited just to give an update. I feel like I'm standing before my board. And I just want to give you an update on what God has been doing through this great work, and talk about some of the dynamic people that I've met and the work that we're doing. But for that, I have to say thank you to all the sponsors and that helped to make this possible. Grateful for Creation Justice Ministries. Bring the church. Thank you, church.
Slide to be visible.
And to the church board, we give thanks to you as well.
Thank you, sorry.
And you
Have an old person
also
apparently.
thank God for Sister Robin here. Really grateful. This woman is a force. She gets things done, holds it together. One of the hardest workers I've ever seen in my life. And I'm so grateful that she worked hard to even make this possible. We need more spaces like this, where we can come together, close the door, and have a family conversation. Because let's just go ahead and keep it real when it comes to the environmental justice and creation care movements. Sometimes, many times, we are excluded from those conversations, or we're not at the table, or our particular ways of entry on the issue are not considered as a part of the planning, discussion, and the funding that goes along with doing this great work. And so again, Robin, thank you for being willing to stick your neck out and say, we need it. Just another year. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Rob told me I got about 20 minutes, and that basically was my introduction. That was 20 minutes right there. So thank you all for having me. Have a great day. I'll talk a little bit about my entry point into environmental justice. And it really is wrapped up in this picture. I really started drawing close to the neighborhood of thinking more about environmental concerns and really environmental justice in the midst of Hurricane Katrina. And images like this one have been seared in my mind since I saw it. People literally on the roof, waving for help. And then, can I tell you the other image? I'm going to be problems for anybody screaming. I'm sorry, for all our screaming folk. Bless y'all. I'm trying to stay still. I'm sorry. You know the other image that has not left me is this one. I'll never forget it. Seeing our folk on the roof with the waters rising, their homes destroyed, and then waiting for help, and present at that time did the flyover. It was something about the pain on the ground and the flying over that pain that has never ever left me. And when I began to think more about why things like this happen, the doors started opening in my mind around climate change, around environmental justice, and around racial justice. Because I see in this Hurricane Katrina tragedy, I saw the intersections of those concerns on the front door and front porch of my reality. And since then, I've continued to think about all the other storms The storms, man-made, and the storms, economic, the storms, political, and the natural storms. And the ways, and Robert, you said it so great, the ways that our community is not only often the first to get hit, but we get hit the most, the worst. And trying to bounce back from that can be a longer road because the resources and the access to power is not as readily available. And so all of that together, I think, contributed to me thinking about this convergence of climate change, convergence of political instability, economic inflation, this convergence of wars, and the money that is always available for war. I think Tupac might have said they got money for war but won't feed the poor. All of these things coming together at the intersection pushed me to the place where I said, if we will be protected as a community, we will have to roll up our sleeves and do some things ourselves. And that pushed me in the direction of thinking about food as well. Because I saw in my church, I saw patterns of people who were struggling with food-related challenges. And the beautiful thing about even this particular moment that I'm really grateful for is that when it comes to environmental change, justice, and when it comes to addressing climate change, there are various entry points for how you and or your congregation can get connected. For some, focus on energy is the thing, and thinking through solar power for your houses of faith and solar power for your members of your congregation. Maybe that's your entry point. For others, it might be thinking about how do we get more involved in legislative advocacy and public policy. And so how can we mobilize our congregations to write to their elected officials? How can we show up on Capitol Hill? How can we make sure our voices are heard during very important legislative times like this one, where the Farm Bill is moving in Congress right now? How can we amplify our voices? So perhaps legislative advocacy and public policy is your thing. Maybe it's in challenging fossil fuel industries and the ways in which corporations continue to further poisoning this planet because of materialism and a capitalism that is literally putting a stranglehold on the place that we call home. Maybe that's your thing. The beautiful thing about this issue is that just like the little girls back in the neighborhood when I grew up, they would get the jump ropes are going, and we had something called double dutch. Y'all remember double dutch? Oh, yes. But anybody, raise your hand if you ever double dutch. I know you more than a preacher. Okay, there you go. But anybody who's ever double dutch before, you know that when those ropes are going, you don't just walk up to the rope and get going. No. You stand and there you go. You gotta do it. And what we're doing when we do that is we're waiting for the right what? Family, I'm here to say the time is now. This is the right time. And the right time not just for platitudes, the right time not just for right talking. This is the right time for courageous and prophetic action on the issues that will impact not only your life, but your children and your children's children's lives. This is the right time. And I love it. Look at Pastor Bullock. I love it because when I think about the right time, I'm excited when I think about religious leaders who are releasing themselves into their next chapter of life and or ministry. This ain't on my page, but the Spirit's working on it. We need a different kind of ministry today. And maybe one of the silver linings of the pandemic was that it kicked us out of the routine of what we've been doing forever. I went through with my church, I know y'all did too. You had no choice. You might have been fussing back and forth with the trustees about online and streaming before then. remember people nervous about online giving at church? And all the backroom, and I wasn't in your meetings, but I had my own. All of the debate around just online giving. Now, people were online giving in every other place. But when the guys in the church, it was a thing. But when this pandemic hit, anybody who wasn't there yet got there real fast. Time. And then pastors feeling God's next call upon their lives. That's my story. That a year ago I stepped down after 14 years of serving as senior pastor, and God released me. Not because of scandal, strain, or strife. It was my next call. I'm still a pastor. I'm still doing ministry. But now the ministry has gotten bigger because God has released me into what is called the Black Church Food Security Network. So for the moments in mind, I want to talk about ministry beyond charity for people and planet. And I'm grateful that I work with so many of you in this very room on what I'm about to talk about. I wanted that subtitle, Beyond Charity is Intentional. The church has been doing charity forever, and I suspect we will continue to do charity into eternity, and that should be celebrated. And, somebody say amen. Justice does not have to stay in the corner while we're doing charity. Charity and justice can walk together. And through this ministry, we want to talk about how justice also can be a part of the importance around food sovereignty. Now, food sovereignty has deep interplay with climate change. Because when you consider the ways that our food is brought to our tables, there's a whole lot of entry points along the way that intersect with why we should be sensitive to climate change. The way that the food is produced can either contribute and intensify climate change concerns or help to alleviate climate change concerns. I'll just say very quickly that local food and growing without all of the machinations of the corporate food system can be beneficial. They call it regenerative agriculture, where you're not extracting from the land at a pace that it cannot replenish. And in fact, you are being partnered with the land, paying attention to what the land is already doing, and then designing your farming around what the land is doing. You can grow food that way. In fact, that's closer to what Big Mama and them had. Anybody here came from Big Mamas that had like mason jars on the shelves? Anybody know about mason jars? Anybody know about Blanchard Green? My roots are down in rural Virginia, North Carolina, though I was born in Baltimore. Some of y'all had experience like me, where summertime when school was out, where did we go? Down. There were no Kings and Queens and Six Flags. We walked down the country. And that's what I did. That's what I learned about what real dark looked like down the country. Stars, I got introduced down the country. And my big mama, Mama Geraldine, could walk the land, identify plants by sight, and if we had a scratch or a rash or something, she knew which plant to pull to apply to the injury that we might be eating. Now, we didn't know Big Mama them was an herbalism. We didn't have all these terms today. But back then, they were people of the land. And then the Great Migration happened. And that disconnection from the land. And in fact, that disconnection is so deep that for many of your families, y'all are struggling with what to do with the family land down the country. Because the younger members of the family don't have the same kind of relationship with that land. They don't know the sacrifices that were made to get that land. And they would just as quickly sell it to Walmart or somewhere and get the money and keep on living. But they don't know the tears that were cried, the blood that was shed, and the effort that was put forward just for the family to have a little piece of something that God is not making any more of. Intersections. I'm not just telling stories about my great-grandmother. I'm giving an example of why we need settings like this to approach the issue of climate change and environmental justice from a contextual and a culturally appropriate lens that resonates for those of us who've been kissed by the sun.
Yes, yes, yes.
We've been talking about environmentalism. In fact, the argument could be made that our people are the original environmentalists.
That's right.
Let me go back to my page. But you do know this is our stuff.
Yes.
And so even the idea of presenting information to our communities in a condescending way, in a patronizing way, is an insult to our legacy, history, and culture because we've been people of the land.
Yes, that's right.
In fact, our enslavement in this country happened because it was known here and known in Europe that there were people with deep discipline and science around agriculture on the west coast of Africa, and if we could just snatch those folk up, they would come and do for us what we can't do for ourselves. Many of the cuisines in the American palate today is here because our folk were the ones who brought their wisdom and the science. Many of the seeds that we have in this country is because enslaved African women, as they were being taken away in shackles, placed seeds in their hair. So that even though they did not know where they were going, what they believed in their heart was wherever I'm going, when I touch down, I'm going to plant a seed in the ground and seed myself to go away. Come on. I'm just reminding y'all that this is our stuff.
Yeah.
And we need not bow our head or avert our eyes when it comes to climate change or environmentalism, because this is our original movement, and as the people who laid the foundation for high civilization around the world, we have right to be in the room right here.
Come on.
And we got something to say, not just those of us who have the records and the documents in front of our names, but our grandfathers and our grandmothers who nobody knows their names. But their wisdom is needed in this moment for such a
True.
Let me talk. And I'm sorry, I do feel like preaching. Look, y'all, this is the aerial view of where I pastored for 14 years, the Pleasantville Baptist Church. And that bottom right circle is where the church is. It's on the screen because I started noticing a pattern of our members going in and out of the hospital over and over again. And y'all, I gotta be honest, we can be honest here. I got tired of just going to the hospital, giving the scripture, giving the prayer, walking out, knowing good and well they was going to be back even after they were discharged. I got tired of seeing the same diseases jump from one line of the family to the next line of the family. Now you done buried grandmama, and now you praying for her daughter who's going through the same thing that her mama went through. And I got tired of seeing that on merry-go-round. And as I stood beside those hospital beds and I listened to my members, once I heard a pattern of food being in the picture somewhere, I came back one day to the church and I realized that across the street there was a fresh food market. And my initial idea was to do a pipeline of fresh food from this market right across the intersection to our church. But when I went over there, the price of the produce was way too high. I couldn't afford it. I knew the people I shared life with at Pleasantville could not afford it. But then also the vibe wasn't right. It was very clear that that place was built not with me and people who look like me in mind. And y'all have been around living long enough to know that there are some places where you can walk in and you don't need to see a "you're not welcome" sign. That's right. You can feel it. You can feel it. I felt it.
Yep.
And I refused to lead my church into a partnership with a place that did not regard me high enough to even create a welcoming environment for me.
Come on.
I walked out of there. And I was upset because right at our fingertips was exactly what we needed. But we couldn't access it. There were barriers. I said, quick word here. The term food desert wouldn't even apply for this particular space. And this is why I pushed past the term food desert. Because we weren't in the desert. The food is right there. Food desert is propped up in part by the thought that if you live at greater distance from food, then that puts you in the desert. Well, a couple of things is a problem there. Number one, the desert is a naturally occurring part of our nature. And number two, you're calling a community a desert in which you don't even live. You're blinded to the reality of the gifts and the people and the stories that are there. So food desert is a term that's lobbed into black communities from the outside. And then we can regurgitate that term unknowingly, where this was not a food desert. This was food apartheid. Some of y'all around apartheid in South Africa, you know very clearly what that looked like. It looked like laws, policies. It looked like intentionality and design. And I know it don't look like it here, but I promise you, you're looking at food apartheid because that road that's right down the middle of the screen, York Road is the dividing line between the haves and the have-nots. And you know what I realized? Every community I go to across the country has a York Road. Sometimes the railroad tracks line that road. But wherever it is, whether road or railroad track, it divides the halves from that. Just York Road, if you cross the street, life expectancy drops or raises by 10 years. Annual income drops or lowers by $30,000. Just by crossing the street, infant mortality changes by 5 years. Just by crossing the street, the quality of life and the experience of life changes altogether. That's what I did not realize. I did not realize when I was a pastor there, that when I walked across that intersection, I was crossing the line between the have and the have. If you think long enough, even in your own church, your own community, you probably can identify your own haves and have-nots. Those roads where you can tell where people are struggling more or those where they are more prosperous. Well, I left out that market that day and I said, oh no, I will not lead my folk into a partnership where we have to bow and genuflect and say thank you for what I believe is a human right. Got back near the front door of the church, God told me to look to my right, and this is what I saw. Near the front door of our church, a little plot of land. The green space the church owned since the 1980s. But that other space over there was owned by an elderly gentleman who got so tired of cutting the grass that he paid a dump truck to come knock rocks and stones all over the grass. I ain't never think about this space, y'all. Y'all see how small it is? This room is bigger than this space. I ain't paying this space no mind. But on that day, with divine discontent bubbling up in my heart, God showed a vision that if you take what you already have, you can grow what you need. I went inside the church, I started sharing that vision. Y'all, come on! We can grow our own food. And everybody came along with the vision. It's like I'm playing. Y'all know that. What kind of miracles he's It's just sort of be honest. Some people roll their eyes. Here you go again. Another vision from God. Who is this dreamer? Everybody didn't come, but a remnant did. A remnant came. And that remnant came alongside, and we worked together to transform this into this. With a remnant and a little piece of land. And we transformed the space. 1,500 square feet. Broccoli, kale, tomatoes, herbs, whatever it is, we growing it. 1,200 pounds of produce every season. Coming out of a space that's about half the size of this room. And I saw that food come into our church, hit our congregational meals, and the members took it home to cook, and then people who lived in the community who ain't never came to the church started coming to the church, not for Sunday morning service, but for the garden ministry, and making contribution toward it. The garden in short order paid for itself. We were able to take it off of the church budget because it was supplying its own resources. This is what I did with our garden. I said, if you don't have it, you take everything you need. I said, but if you're going to go to the market anyway and spend money anyway, why not spend it here? Buy the same thing, and watch this, it's healthier than what you're going to get at that market. Why? Because we ain't grown with no pesticides, no chemicals, there are no additives. It's straight from the ground as God intended. They tasted the difference. And anybody, for instance, who ever tasted a strawberry straight from the field, compared to a strawberry on a store shelf somewhere, you know big difference. Yeah, don't mess around ruin your life. You eat something straight from the lane, you'll never want to go back. Because you know the difference, and it's healthier as well. So here's one of the things that shocked me. I thought that when I launched this business, hey y'all, we're going to do this garden, I thought it was going to be the young adults that came forward and said, Pastor, we with you. I'm a 28-year-old young radical revolutionary pastor. I'm like, y'all, we gonna throw the move in the water. Well, come on. The young people came on the first day, took pictures and selfies and group photos on the land. And hell, they got their pictures to the ground. Hurt my little feelings, Pastor. Hurt my little feelings. But you know who's stuck and staying? The seniors. This is Sister Maxine Nicholas from Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina. And when I stood up and said we're going to do a garden, she stood up and said, I'm going to help you. She was the sanctuary choir president. And she planned all the senior trips. So, you know, they go shopping and all that kind of stuff. But when I said this garden thing, she stood up and was like, I got you. And I'm so glad she did. Because God gave me a picture of the vision, but the know-how was in somebody else's hand.
There you go.
Sister Maxine stood up, and she gathered what I call the AARP club, got them together, and they were the consistent ones in the land. I didn't connect the dots that my folk were from the country. They came to Baltimore during the 50s and 60s, but they grew up on farms in Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. And all of that wisdom and genius that they had was dormant in the church because there was no avenue for that brand of their God-given genius to express itself in bathing. Churches do great when people know how to sing. You know what to do with you. Join the choir. You play an instrument, get them to banging. Can you stand for an hour and a half? Maybe two. Join the usher board. But what about your members who are herbalists? Is there a place for their God-given gift to express itself in the church? What about the nutritionists? Where's their place? What about the fitness gurus who are certified to do physical fitness and training? Is there a place for them to understand their gift as God-given and the church as a platform and stage for them to share and show what God has given them? I didn't see it. I missed it. I'm so glad the Lord helped me to see it and connect these dots. And Sister Maxine helped me lead this place, and light bulbs started going off. Because I knew there was nothing so spectacular at Blessed Hope Baptist Church and under my ministry. My preaching, I'm trying my best. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then I get an off Sunday, sometimes I do better, sometimes I do worse. There was nothing spectacular about me or the church, so much so that this could not be replicated somewhere else. And I started thinking, wait a minute, other churches got the same stuff we got. Parking lots, kitchens, land, vans, multi-purpose rooms. And then I started thinking about the denominations and how many millions of members and how many hundreds of thousands of churches that we already have in our hands. That sits largely underutilized Monday through Saturday. What if we brought it together? What if we got in the driver's seat of feeding ourselves? That's what the vision came. Let's co-create a black food ecosystem anchored by black churches in partnership with black farmers and accomplices. There it is. Eat black food ecosystem. Ecosystem is everything from farm to a lemonade stand. Ecosystem. It's everybody from the seniors to the children. An ecosystem. That is what we're working to do now. By utilizing what we already have in our hands. And please believe me when I tell you, y'all, ain't nothing rad, ain't nothing necessarily new or novel about this. My book is writing about how for the past 100 years, black churches have been doing this kind of work. Ministers have been doing this. We are the newbies on the block when it comes to black church history, in terms of focusing on oratory. We're the new kids on the block. But most of the history of the black church is a very agrarian, land-based story that once we left down the country, our understanding of ministry necessarily shifted to our context. But that context and foundation was always there with black churches. And so the ecosystem now is being built across the country. And this is a graphic of food system elements. And I believe, and this is why God released me from pastoring in the traditional context to now pastoring in a much larger way. I believe every single church can double dutch into at least one of the circles on this screen. Where I would talk about composting. I'm an avid composter. I believe every congregation should be a composting church. I firmly believe it. I firmly believe it. It's easy. Compost, listen, and it's a way to get all your members involved. Some of y'all saying, I got a green thumb, I can't grow nothing. I get it. Some of y'all got brown thumbs. You kill dead, you kill fake plants. I get you. But look, all the members are already producing compostable items every week out of the kitchen in their home. Here's something we did at Shiloh. Get biodegradable compostable bags. Pass them out to your members. Have them collect their kitchen scraps. Give them education on what is compostable and what is not. Have them bring it on Sunday when they come back to church. And create some incentive to celebrate those who bring the most. Unleash the children to be the captains of the household. And that child will get that family composting. And then you bring the children up to be celebrated on Sunday morning. The whole church can do it. They'll say this. I already know they're going to say this. What about the bugs? Put the compost in the bag. Keep the bag in the freezer during the week. And at the end of the week, take the bag out and bring it to church. Or food production. Raise your hand if your church already has a garden. Praise God. So some of you got land, and we're churches with land. I like that. Churches with land. You got land. And just sit there smiling away with land. Start a garden. And listen, your church garden is not going to feed the whole city. It doesn't have to. It will scale the idea in the minds of your members and ignite transformation in your community and help people to rethink what church can be. Here's what I also know about garden ministries. Gardens cannot be done virtually. Some of y'all are struggling to get folk to come back to the building. I'm here to tell you, a garden is going to bring them out. You have to. Something in this circle is something that each church can do. Time is only, I got to push. Here's a few programs, and then I'll be done. Operation Higher Ground is one of them. We help churches start gardens on land that they own. We do not look at city-owned land. We do not look at privately owned land. Because there's been too many instances of community gardens starting on the land of a municipality or private owner, and then when a developer comes along, after your garden has put value into that space, that developer now wants to take it back and build something on it. So we focus on black church land because it creates more buffers between gentrification, eminent domain, and the ever-expanding development in all of our communities. Church-owned land. This is Buffalo, New York. I remember the massacre at the grocery store, the Tops grocery store. After the massacre, they called me because this was the only grocery store in their community. So during the time of the massacre and the immediate weeks after, this community had no grocery store to go to because it was a crime scene. And they said, Pastor Brown, we never want to be in a position again where we are relying only on this grocery store to feed our families. And now we're working with about 10 to 15 congregations in Buffalo to grow food on their land and work with the black farmers in their community so they can feed themselves. This is our social sanctuary market. It's basically a farmer's market. It's a black farmer's market at church on Sundays, so that right after worship on Sundays, people walk out and shake hands with the farmers and get good food. Y'all know after church, everybody's hungry. They're going to go eat somewhere. Let's put the stuff that we need in their path. Tell the story of the importance of supporting black farmers after their 100 years of discrimination faced in this country. And our churches, on the basis of ethics and faith and justice and health, can put charity and justice together, support black farmers, and get your members the food that they need for optimal health. I'm so grateful for Leneal Smith, who's here. She is our director of events, and she is the genius behind producing these dynamic experiences where we bring, it's not just a farmers market, y'all, it's like a family reunion. The Cupid Shuffle is there, the grill is gone, the food is good, all that's happening. Earlier this year, we were blessed to do this experience at the Ebenezer Baptist Church, where Pastor Raphael Warnock serves in Atlanta, and did a farmers, soil sanctuary farmers market. We did black farm tours, we did a food justice panel, and we're excited and proud to be working with Ebenezer Baptist Church and deepening their role for food justice in the Atlanta metro area. And then food demonstrations. Some of us have to taste and see. Don't just tell me, Reverend. Give me a little sample of that. And this is Jeree, one of our partners, doing a food demonstration at the New Psalmist Baptist Church in Baltimore. And so that too is a part not only of the market, but even as a standalone experience, we have that as well. Finally, the assembling our resources for community sustainability. We call it the ARC for short, like Noah's Ark. And this is where we work with truck drivers and farmers and congregations to create our own supply chain. Family, we need our own supply chain. You need something that you can rely on, that you are in the driver's seat of helping to pull together and define. And so we work to bring the truck drivers, the farmers, and the land together and to do this great work. This is actually my cousin. I just learned a couple of years ago that his name is David. Because in our family, this is Junebug. Anybody else got Junebug? This is my real life Junebug in my family. And for all of my natural born life, the only thing I ever called him. So when he introduced himself as David, one day I said, "Who's David?" Same thing with Junebug. But he's a truck driver. And during the pandemic, he started driving down south for us to pick up produce from black farmers and bring it up about the truckload to our churches and communities. Now, this might sound amazing, but I promise you that other religious groups and other cultural groups are already doing this. They already have their own farms. They already have their own storage. The Mormons already have warehouses and storage and supply facilities around the country. So during the pandemic, while we were waiting in line with toilet paper and canned food, the Mormons were sending out food to their members and to their congregations to feed themselves. They're not the only ones. The Nation of Islam was mailing out beans and rice to all of their members in the pandemic. This is common. We are the ones that don't have the same types of things. And I'm glad to be a part of something where we are building what we need for ourselves. Junebug went down to the 18-wheeler down the country in North Carolina. We loaded up vegetables and stuff, and then we brought it back to Kingdom Fellowship AME Church. And Reverend Kendra just had to step out, but she's a great partner in this work. And Kingdom Fellowship AME Church buys more produce from our black farmers than any other church in the area. But we're looking for competition. We're looking for more churches to buy their produce. Ain't no reason in the world why we should be buying collard greens from Walmart and Costco. Black farmers got collard greens. They got sweet potatoes. That's charity and justice. You're already doing food justice ministry. You do food distributions already, and thank God for the pantries. But the pantry will never be able to get to a place of power through the pantries. The pantry keeps you in a perpetual posture of depending on the benevolence of others. And then a lot of the food that we receive from the pantry is high in sodium, or it's bad because it's being dumped by corporations that are looking for a tax break, and they need somewhere to take their old food. Good Lord have mercy. I'm going to say that something for another day. But I just want us not to be complicit in programming that's really not designed to build power in our community. That does more for them than for us. We deliver these greens to Kingdom Fellowship and other ministries and congregations. And then this is First Baptist Church of Glenarm. There's a farm right across the street from this great church. Earlier this year, I spoke at their health conference. I keynoted their event. And I said, "Do y'all know the farmers right across the street?" They said, "No." I went to the farmers. I said, "Do y'all know the church right across the street?" They said, "No." So I put on my matchmaker hat, and I had to matchmake this church and these farms, and did a tour with their leaders of the farm. And then 2 weeks from now, they'll have their members touring the farm, so they can start buying from the black farmers that are right across the street. Praise God. And what I want to make with you is that there are black farmers right in your community that just might be in your blind spot. We don't see each other. They don't see us. We don't see them. And so our organization, we matchmake and bring it together. Here's where we are across the country now. From one church in Baltimore to 225 churches across the country, 125 black farmers, and a growing number of volunteers as well. Family, we are bringing together a national network. This is a movement, not just some nonprofit. I didn't step away from pastoring just to lead a nonprofit. I stepped out on board because I believe that Jesus is calling us to come and engage the issue not only of food justice, but also of climate change and so many other issues. Here are ways to connect with our work. And as I go to my seat, I have three things I want to ask from every pastor. We need your church to be a member of the Black Church Food Security Network. Go to our website. It's right there, blackchurchpower.com. Click Become a Member. Fill out the short form. We'll get you plugged in. Whoever you or your designee, I'll put them through our new members class. Just like church, we got a new members class. And then, as a part of that also, we put forward financial investment seed money to support your project, your garden, your market, or other BCFSM project. I need every church to join this effort. Secondly, I need you to connect me with the ministerial associations that you are a part of. This is something that needs to spread. It's not about Heber Brown, it's not rocket science. I walk into any room and tell a story, and heads are nodding everywhere because it just makes sense. We got churches with land and kitchens and vans and stuff. We know we're not using it. And now, pastors, many of you are trying to pray. You're praying about how you can utilize your assets because church has changed. Ministry has changed. Some of you are financially strained. And so many churches are thinking about just selling the buildings. And I was going to say to the black community in particular, that land is sacred land. Come on. Our ancestors are buried in the land of so many of our churches. And if we can work with you to bring a new vision to ministry that invites people to the table who maybe never thought about coming to church before, but now through this lens they see God in a whole new way, we want to work with you on that. We want to partner with you around our membership, our volunteering, donations, and finally, the Neil's going to get me if I don't say it, we have honey. We have honey. This is honey from Canada, North Carolina, Reverend Richard Joyner, who trained the young people of his children, of his congregation, to become certified beekeepers. And with their hives on the church land, they make this honey. They jar it up, they sell it in the local stores and in the school system down in North Carolina. Our organization, with support of our partners and congregations, bought hundreds of these, and we give them out, and we sell them. I'm sorry, don't give them out. She just gave me an eye. We sell them. Well, of course, we talk about black church power. I believe the church has the power to be the hub and the central agent of transformation in our communities again. I believe that we should not have to go back 60 years to the last time we saw black churches on the front line for social justice. That the public needs a new image and vision of what black churches can be, and I call that black church power. And finally, we have seeds. If other people can have their seeds, we can have our seeds too. And we have seed packets where we help our churches to grow. This is mixed herbs. You can grow it on your kitchen sill. But even just the imagery of having seeds, hopefully, makes explosions happen in your mind around growing our own food. Last thing I said, put black farmers on the church budget. Put black farmers on the church budget. If we really care about it, we put money behind it. I'm going to ask you, because I hear farmers who are calling me in distress because they're losing their land or literally being harassed and terrorized. You can imagine what's happening in Florida. I get the calls from farmers in Florida who say my animals are being killed. Wow. They're leaving the decapitated heads of animals on my porch. I had to step back and look at the phone because I thought this was 1955 or something. No, this was 2023 that black farmers are being terrorized and harassed. I'm asking if you would consider putting the Black Church Food Security Network as part of the outreach and missionary arm of your budget for 2024. Because we need far more people to help with that map and get the word out, pay black farmers, and create for ourselves from grassroots up a national network to feed ourselves, our families, support our communities, and make our rightful contribution to the larger mission and ministry of addressing climate change in this country. Thank you all so very much for the invitation.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here. And I will say we are also doing work, doing advocacy meetings with Black farmers along with Bread for the World. And I will say this is not just an issue of food, this is also an issue of our health when it comes to climate and the environment. You have Black farmers who told me that they have gotten such nervous issues because of the harassment that they're facing, that some of them were shaking as if they had Parkinson's. But it was the stress that they were dealing with because of the harassment that they're facing. And what I will also say in this moment is that when it comes to Creation Justice Ministries, we have to look at the issue of justice because a lot of the times the policy that is being made around climate and environmental justice, it doesn't include us.
That's right.
And it may have inclusion, but it's not justice. It may have environmental issues, but it's not justice, and it does not consider us despite what they may say. And so we have to be at the table. And so I just welcome you to be a part of the trainings that we're having at Creation Justice Ministries, to be a part of the advocacy that we're doing at Creation Justice Ministries. We are doing work around extreme heat right now because we are dying as Black people at twice the rate as our white counterparts. When a natural disaster happens, Black people are losing wealth after a disaster. White people gain 5 times the wealth statistically because of FEMA funding. So this is legal. It's not just food apartheid. It's apartheid in so many other areas. And so please join us and join the work that we're doing at Creation Justice Ministries. And we will have business cards, and I will be reaching out to many of you after this event. Thank you.
I want to thank all of the people who have helped with this endeavor. This is our first, so hope to have many more. Can you all stand up? The Interfaith IPL-DMV team, the folks who helped on the Green the Church DMV board, as well as Creation Justice Ministries, and Reverend Laura from the board of church. Okay, I'm going to say United Methodist Church Board. And Reverend Emily from Green the Church National. Help with all of the logistics, and Joelle back there. I also wanted to thank Reverend Heber for taking my call and joining us. I am so blessed to have you as a personal friend in my phone. I feel honored and blessed. My pastors are here. Pastor, they're my friends. So I say Paul and Samar. Pastors Paula and Samar Paul from Beloved Community Church, UCC. So there's so many of you that I know that are here. Green the Church Steering Committee. We just started the Green the Church DMV affiliate this year. I'm so proud. And some of our board members are here. And you didn't stand up, Reverend Rakeem. I see you over there. You can raise your hand, the board members that are here. I want to thank you all as well. We're trying to build a movement in the DMV. There is a Green the Church National. Reverend Emily, you want to really quickly speak about what the website and all that? But we work together. Come on up, my sister. We work together. We're an affiliate of the national organization, and
so there is a prayer that Marion Wright Elderman wrote in this little book, and it says, God, help me to be like bamboo, which sways and bends and bows, but never breaks. God, help me to be like bamboo, which sways and bends and bows, but never breaks. And it resonated because I thought about us as Black folks, as us as Black clergy folk. Yes. There's a whole lot goes on. But God helps us all to bend, to bow, and to sway. But we still standing. That's it, man. And we still here. And we're still leading the cause. And so Green the Church National, in essence, helps the individual Black church to bend. to been in this space where it's needed so that our congregations can truly be a congregation where their lives are being fulfilled in the most holistic way possible. We've been hearing about environment and what it is and how, like how people say, we are the original environmentalists. I love that. I'm going to have to use them more often now. And so in essence, there's 3 pillars that we operate under: amplifying green theology. Heber just preached what I call a green sermon. And that's what he just did. He just preached a green sermon. He just preached to us in a way that we understood, preached to us in a way that was relative to our people, our cause. Building power for change. We find ourselves and make sure that we are in spaces and places as it relates to politics, as it relates to legislature, and then also promoting sustainable practices. That's the 3 pillars that we operate under. Promoting sustainable practices are practices that we're talking about right today. Practices such as food sovereignty or dealing with food apartheid, practices as it relates to, in essence, building and taking advantage of the IRA as it relates to solar panels on nonprofits, which are black churches that are in brownfields. These are all of the things that operate under Bring the Church. We have a card here that's being floated around. Please, you're welcome to tap on the QR code, and there is a link tree of various parts of our website. We ask that you join just so you can get the information and stay abreast of holistically being a part of this green movement. And we also have opportunity for churches to become what we call associate members. There is no charge. We're continuing to build and work with brothers like Heber and work with my sister right here, the Creation Justice. And I'm also, I'd like to introduce myself. So my name is Reverend Emily Carroll, right? And so I serve as the pastor of Shady Grove United Methodist Church in Mansfield, Louisiana. Amen. And then I also serve as the Northern Field Director of Bring the Church National. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I have a question because there's collective wisdom in the room and we have a problem. Pastor Ashley brought me to United Methodist Church in Annapolis, Maryland, they can hear me. And we have a couple of acres of land that are right now basically forest, covered in trees. I need to figure out how to get those trees off so we can turn it into farmland. What have some of you done or heard about being done? Partnership with a lumber yard, something, or if there's some fund or grant somewhere so that we can do that. That's the only thing stopping us from being able to have farmland.
Yes.
That's why I asked.
I'm gonna, I saw you, Reverend Heber, kind of turn around as you get ready to say something. Well, just real quickly, like you said, you have the right people in the room, and we can get you information. I work with several churches. I don't know if Reverend Martin from Still Meadows is here, but he's in Baltimore, and his church, if those of you who know Baltimore and know his church, he has a Peace Park, and he revolutionized this 10 acres of land that was just on the premise, and that was a jungle, basically. And also has done all kinds of native plants, and he's pulled together a lot of different funding, and he's also a hub in Baltimore. That's just one. There are other congregations that I know of as well, and Reverend Heber, I'm sure you know of many resources. So there's resources as well, state, local resources. So, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You've got the environmental matters committee that would handle something like that. And you can easily get funding, and the governor, of course, would use you as a tool.
So as said, can we, you two hook it up? Also, there's other churches that are doing stuff in Annapolis that have detention ponds and they have to face. I mean, so we'll hook you up. I know they told me to hurry up. All right, so what I was going to say is if those of you are registered for today's CEEJH-UMB EJ Symposium, that is what is happening today. Environmental Justice and Health Disparities Symposium. That is a University of Maryland Center for Environmental something Justice and Health. Reverend Dr. Jacoby, who said he's going to drop by, but he's speaking right now. He helped us pull this together, gave us some staff, and so I want to thank them because they allow us to bring the faith, us into this space. This is the first time we've had so many different faith events in one period under this EJ Symposium. So thank you, and if you're going on, you missed the show, sorry, but wasn't Reverend Heber. But it's a short walk over to the Stamp Center, Union Center, something like that. And before I sit myself down, I am going to pass it. Yes? Can I come to prayer? You are. Well, you can.
Okay.
But we were supposed to be.
You need Reverend Derek
Reverend Derek?
is going to offer the benediction.
Yes. But you wanted to say something?
Just real quick. Hey everyone, I'm Reverend Lauren Kiweba. I serve as the Director of Grassroots Organizing at the General Board of Church and Society of the United Methodist Church. But I also just wanted to add, and thank you so much, Reverend Brown, and the Black Church Power. Amen. Because this moment, yes, we had some breakfast, give it up for caterers. But this moment is also a chance for us to build power.
That's right.
Right? Power, as Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King says, is the ability to achieve purpose. The purpose that we all need is liberation, putting liberation into practice. And a part of that is making connections at the table. And so I really do hope that each of you were able to meet someone new, because we are going to do this again. There are opportunities across the DMV for us to build power so that we can transform these systems and allow them to be liberated, allow us to flourish as a community. So I just want to name that. Don't leave this space without connecting to someone. And then that's all I had. So, benediction.
All right, if you please stay with me. Now, some of you are going to go back to churches and you're going to be talking about what you experienced here. And they're going to ask you, yes, but where is that in the Bible? Yes. It is everywhere. Let me start at the beginning. Genesis 2. The man is put in the garden. And God gives him a charge. And that charge, we are told in English, is to keep and till the garden.
Yes.
If you talk to a Hebrew scholar, that is not what those verbs are. Those verbs that we have translated in English as keep and till actually translate as to protect and serve.
That's it, sir.
Now, where do we see serve and protect on the side of the vehicle? Where do we see serve and protect and serve in our communities? We have treated this planet the way that police have treated our communities. And we need to flip this around and be a people of real service to God's planet and real protection for God's planet, because that is the thing to which we are called. And so as it's already been said, do not leave here without a connection to Creation Justice Ministries, to Green the Church, to IPL, to any of these organizations that are here, to the Black Church Food Security Network, to not leave here without fulfilling your charge to serve and protect God's creations. Friends, go in peace. Go as God's servants. Go as God's hands. Go as God's feet to serve as the one who served with wounded hands, to walk with the lowly as the one who walked on wounded feet, and to love like the one who loved with wounded heart. Go